best way to learn, practice, and apply music theory is to create your own music, and that's what we're gonna do today. I've got a composition project for you that I think you're really going to enjoy, and I'm excited to get started. Now, if you are intimidated by composition, don't worry, you're not alone. Composition can be intimidating, especially because we feel like it has to be really good. Now, composition is really just making decisions, that's all. You're just making decisions on how to put together notes and rhythms, what time signature to use, what instruments and sound combinations you want to make. That's all it is. You're just making decisions. And they don't have to be really great. You're not going for anything brilliant here. You're just going for new and unique, something that you've created on your own. Now, this is a lot easier if we put boundaries and guidelines in place for ourselves. The composition that you're going to create is going to be a rhythm-only composition. That's right. No notes, no pitches. You only get to play around with rhythm. And I will allow you to use different sounds, so you can use different rhythmic instruments, or you could clap or use stomps. So it's not that you don't get any sort of sound with this. You can use sound combinations, but we're not going to play around with actual pitches. Also, this is going to be a short composition. We're going to go between 8 and 16 measures long. You don't have to write a symphony here. So to start with, you're going to choose a meter or a time signature that you want to portray to the audience. So it could be 4/4 or 6/8, or you could go crazy and do something like 7/8. But you're going to choose a time signature and then use the rhythms and the accents and the way that you're organizing everything so that the listener can listen to this piece of music and know what the meter or the time signature that you intended is. So you're going to want to be a little careful with what rhythms you use. Make sure that the rhythms fit the time signature. You're also going to want to play around with different types of accents. Remember, there's more than just one type of accent. We've got dynamic accents, we've got tonic accents, we've got agogic accents, we've got metric accents. All of those things are going to be clues for the listener. Now, if you don't know what all those are, there are other videos that I've made that you can refer back to. Now, depending on how complex you want to get with this composition, you can throw in some other rhythmic devices as well. You could use an anacrusis or a pickup note. You could write your rhythms using swing, or you could do some syncopation. You could even throw in some cross rhythms because we're actually going to make this a rhythmic duet. That's right, you're going to have two parts. So you're going to have the main part, which is your main rhythm and is going to determine your underlying beat. And then you're going to have a second part that adds some interest and maybe some rhythmic devices in there. One of the most important things is that you are going to notate this. You've got to actually write this down. I know you can make music without notating it, but part of music theory is being able to look at it and study it and practice some of these concepts. The easiest way to do that is to write it down. So I'll be showing you an example on some music notation software, but you could write this down on any old staff paper using a paper and pencil, that's fine. The idea is that you're going to get practice not only making these decisions, but you're also going to get the practice of actually writing it down so that somebody else could read your music and perform it. Okay, so let's do a quick example together. I want you to see how this process works before you try and do it on your own. So like I said, I'm going to be using MuseScore here. MuseScore is a free notation software that you can get online. It's very powerful. It can do all sorts of things. So it's a great place to get started with composition. Okay, so I've already set up my MuseScore here. You can see I have a snare drum and a triangle, and I'm in 2/4. That's my choice. I chose to be in 2/4. So I'm going to want to choose rhythms that fit into 2/4. Now, how do I do that? Well, I'm going to try and put longer notes and more accented notes on the beats. The snare drum is going to be my bass rhythm, so I'm going to focus on the snare drum first. So I'm putting in a quarter note there, and then the second beat, maybe I'll put in 2/8 notes. Then I would put in maybe another quarter note, and then maybe 16th notes this time. And then maybe I want to do something like a dotted 8th note that's still a little bit longer, but gives some rhythmic interest. And then maybe I'll do like a 16th note, and then maybe 8th note, 16th note, and then finish off with something like 2/4 notes. Now that's my first 4 measures. Most of the time when we're writing music, we're thinking in 4-measure chunks. So that's my first 4 measures. Now for my next 4 measures, I probably want to do some repetition. So I'll throw in another quarter note, maybe eighth notes, start it the same way as I did the first 4 measures, but then maybe I want to try something different. So for the next measure, I'm going to go with some 16th notes, and then maybe just continue with my 16th notes, and then I'll go into, let's see, I got 2 measures left. Let's do a dotted quarter note with some 16th notes, and then we'll finish with a half note. That's my last note. I want it to be the strongest, so I'm going to make it longest. Now I can go back and listen to all of this and see how I like it. So overall, I'm pretty happy with that. I do want to add some musicality. I want to add some accents. So I'm going to start with this first quarter note here, and I'm going to add in a dynamic. I'm going to say we're going to start soft and a mezzo piano. And then this measure here, maybe I want to crescendo. And maybe I want to even add in a dynamic accent at the beginning. So maybe we'll throw in a dynamic accent right there. And we can do another one here just to emphasize these are the first beats of the measure. And maybe we want to do one here too. But then since this is the end of our phrase, I'm going to decrescendo. So I'll throw in a decrescendo there. How much do I want to crescendo? Maybe I'll say we crescendo up to a forte. And then we come down to maybe a piano here. And then all the way through this measure, maybe I want to crescendo back to my forte. So we'll throw in a crescendo there, and we'll throw in a forte there. And then we've got our last note there. We probably want this last note to be accented. So I will throw in an accent there. Okay, now that I've got that, I've got some accents thrown in. I'm using agogic accents, I'm using metric accents, I'm using dynamic accents. So I'm going to go ahead and throw in some interesting notes in the triangle. So maybe I want to start with this first note, again, emphasizing the downbeats. So I'll throw in a triangle note on these downbeats here. But then maybe I want to do something interesting there, just to kind of emphasize that we are on the beats. Okay, and then let's see, maybe here, I'm just going to continue emphasizing that beat by putting in this tonic accent in the triangle. Maybe right here I want to do a tremolo, and then maybe one note on the downbeat there. So I'm going to change this to a half note, and then maybe I'll add in a tremolo there just to make it interesting. Okay, now I can listen to this and think, okay, does this sound like 2/4? Did I accomplish my goal of making a composition that sounds like 2/4? So I think I did, but I can't really hear the triangle. So I would go through here and maybe write in double forte, really bring out that triangle, maybe accent and adding in some accents. There we go. Maybe one here too. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Here we go. One more time. And there you have it. Just by making a few decisions, I have created an 8-measure rhythmic duet that is my own composition right here. Totally unique. Okay, so now that you've seen how to do it, it's time for you to go out and make your own composition. Choose a time signature, get it written down, Go through all of these steps and create a composition that somebody could listen to and know what time signature you chose. And again, if any of these concepts are unfamiliar to you or you want some review, I have a whole playlist over here of everything you need to know to do this composition assignment, including rhythmic devices, meters, simple compound meters, irregular meters, how to notate rhythms, anything you need to know, it's right over there in that playlist. We'll see ya.